We are back now, 7:42, with New York's iconic Empire State Building shining overnight in purple and silver. And of course, that is to honor Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II.
And similar tributes are taking place across the globe, including in Paris, where the lights on the iconic Eiffel Tower went dark in a show of respect, Savannah.
Yeah, and guys, those tributes to the Queen are growing. People are also thinking about what the future of the monarchy now holds. Keir Simmons is back with us with that part of the story. Hi, Keir.
Hey, Savannah, good morning again. And while we've been on air, the first pictures of King Charles, as we must now call him, King Charles III, leaving Balmoral and boarding a plane in Aberdeen. He is now in the air with his Queen Consort, Camilla, as she is now called, heading here to London. The King, as Prince of Wales, did a good deal, but also faced a good deal of controversy. Controversies which he must now leave behind as King, beginning with a TV address to the nation in just a few hours.
He's the longest-serving heir to the throne in British history. At the age of 73, Charles, the eldest son of Queen Elizabeth, is now King Charles III.
The country's first look at King Charles, travelling to London this morning to assume his duties.
In a statement calling his mother's death a moment of the greatest sadness for me and for all the members of my family. In popularity, Charles still trails his mother and his sons and their wives, with only 11% choosing him as their favourite royal. But arguably, no one is more ready to be king. Charles groomed from the age of 4 when his mother was crowned queen. As a boy, he was shy, lonely, an average student and no sportsman, calling his school in Scotland pure hell.
I, Charles, Prince of Wales, do become your liege man of life and limb.
At 20, he became Prince of Wales and began to blossom, hunting, playing polo, a pilot in the Air Force, 5 years in the Royal Navy where he commanded a ship. Charles may be best known as the man who married Princess Diana, a fairy tale wedding seemingly doomed from the beginning.
And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
Public opinion of him plummeting after their acrimonious divorce and Diana's tragic death. Ever since, he's tried to improve his image, ultimately marrying Camilla, who will now take the title of Queen Consort. He became the hardest working member of the royal family, founding charities like the Prince's Trust, helping nearly 1 million disadvantaged young people, and championing causes like environmental protection long before they were fashionable.
Do we want to go down in history as the people who did nothing to bring the world back from the brink?
Now King Charles has vowed to avoid controversial campaigns as monarch, just as his mother did. Over the last months, as her health weakened, he's assumed more of her duties. One of his first expected plans to slim down the size of the monarchy and reduce its financial drain on the public. Still, his biggest challenge may be healing the rift with his son Harry after his royal departure.
I will always love him, but there's a lot of hurt that's happened.
Now, as his family gathers around Charles, the eyes of the world are on him like never before.
And Savannah, that TV address expected at 6 p.m. local here, 1 Eastern, Prince Charles getting to work even as he is grieving his mother. But as his mother showed us, that is what duty means, Savannah.
Absolutely. Keir, thank you so much. And a reminder, Keir has more insight on the future of the monarchy and the type of King Charles will be on today's Born to Rule podcast. You can find it by scanning that QR code or search for Born to Rule wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.